welcome back to the Sexy Business Podcast. I am Spooky Dangerous of THM Studios, and with me, arms and everything, is Lewd Neko. And today it's the waifus episode. We are going to be having the most critical discussion any 14-year-old boy could have in their life. Which waifu is the best one? And I did want to start off with you because you brought up something in the, prepare conversation about what your first waifu was. And I think that's a great place to start.
Okay, so technically my first fictional crush was a husbando, I guess.
That's allowed.
It was Lucario, the Pokemon.
Okay.
There's a specific movie about him where he's kind of like this hero and he can speak
Big
in it
daddy
because he's
energy.
a psychic type. Yeah, and I was like, oh, he would be my best friend, and I want to marry him. And I was like 6.
That's hype.
And then, once I got a bit older, I think my first waifu was technically Princess Peach, because I remember playing as her a lot in like Smash Bros. And Super Paper Mario. And now we are actually getting like a game of her, which is pretty exciting. But, she was one of those characters, because I also had to deal with the fact that I was like dealing with the whole like, oh, girls can like girls thing. So I was just like, oh, I just really, really, really think she's cute.
Yeah. Oh, guys, no, I'm not gay. This character design just goes hard.
No, literally, I was like, because I would type her name into like the Rule 34 website. I'm like, it's not because I want to look at her specifically. I just happen to like a lot of the artists that use her as a character.
Yeah. That's
okay,
valid.
what about you? What's like one of your?
So for me, I've done some deep soul diving recently because it's actually funny. I had this question brought up to me recently, but it was framed specifically as what was your PS1 era waifu? And I realized that was like kind of the right time for me to like kind of start figuring this kind of shit out. And I've got 2 from that era. The first one is Laramie from Grand Stream Saga. Really fucking niche shout out there, I know. But Laramie is blue-haired, right? Kind of like the slender waif type. And she's introduced to you in a shower scene where you walk in on her in the shower, and her big scary parrot attacks you, and then she comes out with like a mace or something, like a steel mace, and threatens you. So like big grumpy bitch energy. And the second one is Elora from Spyro. So
okay.
Have
She's
that
a little
have that early furry awakening kind of moment. Where it's just
mean,
like, damn, they made her thick as fuck for no reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexy furries in like children's media in general.
Oh, yeah.
Like what is it, Robin Hood, and now the kid, like my furry awakening was technically Zootopia. That was when I had to accept that I was a furry.
But hang on, so yeah, Zootopia is the separating the boys from the men type of thing, where it's like, oh, this character is cute, and like Lola Bunny is kind of maybe hot, and then like Zootopia is we have made a character for you to come to. And you're like, oh yeah, you kind of did.
I mean, they literally have the like sexy Shakira. I forget, she's like she's a gazelle. That's right.
Yeah.
And then the sexy tigers in the tiny shorts.
Yeah, and it's actually been so much content come out of those characters and of that game. Like I remember a cartoon which was like Judy and Nick visiting like a nudist retreat. And they like wander through the thing, and everyone's doing yoga, and they're trying to do yoga together.
I think I know what that animator was. He does a lot of really famous animations because he did all of like the Amazing World of Gumball ones.
Yeah.
Like the Gumball if it was an anime, and the sexy mom and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nicole shows up in a lot of shit as well for some reason.
Moms.
Yeah,
moms.
I mean,
all the cartoon
we could do
moms.
A whole episode on mums for sure.
Milfs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you know I'm Australian, because I say mum and you say mom.
But hey, and MILF is all the same.
For real. Yeah, still mommy. And then I think Doxy, Ontodoxy, did a big several chapters comic of Judy getting addicted to the howler thing or whatever it's called, and becoming like a irascible slut. Which was really also like really good quality.
I'm really into this like Nick and Judy cucking comic. The artist is Amados,
Okay.
Amadose. And I really like it because they actually show the negotiations for cucking. Like it's an
Okay.
actual dynamic of who Nick's getting like cucked by, like they made their character and stuff like that. And as someone who's like involved in kink and stuff, it was really interesting to see like ethical cucking,
Yeah,
where they
actual
talked about,
negotiation for a scene, which is
yeah,
the
and
real
like
thing that happens.
aftercare.
Yeah, exactly.
And it made it hotter for me, like kind of what we've talked about previously. Like I enjoy having those little story moments or character moments.
Well, yeah, it makes it feel more grounded. It makes it feel more real, and more parallel to like actual human
Mm.
activity and real people,
Yeah, and I mean that's
which
one
is
of
the
the
goal,
fun things
right?
about having a waifu, because like I never had crushes on really celebrities growing up. Like I had a ton of friends who were obsessed with like boy bands and
Mm.
actresses and stuff like that. I just never really got into that. It always felt weird to me, like stalkerish, I guess.
Yeah, I only really have the
Um,
one. Every other actress, I'm just like, yeah, you're really talented, and I'd like to see you do the funny.
but with like a waifu, you have all this like fan content where and nowadays people even do like self shipping is a
Mm.
thing where people like will there's like artists who will specifically like advertise like I will draw your self ship if you want me to draw literally you or like your original character and
Yeah, the
whatever
whole
waifu.
fucking has been hotel thing. I've seen so much memes people making about this one guy that had that done where he could be with
Oh,
the main
the
character of Has
yeah.
Been Hotel,
Oh,
and
I
everyone's
forget
just
his
clowning on
name.
him so hard, and I'm like, homie, I feel so bad for you.
Yeah, 50K for a waifu music
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
I gotta
that's
respect
gotta
the
hurt.
hustle.
For real, like, look, honestly, that is a fucking power move that few people are base enough to attempt. And unfortunately, this one was not received very well. Um,
Yeah. I think especially because he was like a famous like creator. So it's always like, oh, we thought you were this kind
already
of
had a,
person. It turns out you're
yeah.
a weirdo.
Oops. Self reported. Alright, so what are some more modern waifus that you have?
Ooh. I guess I've gotten into like much like darker ones. I'm really into like on the husbando side at least, like serial killer. Like not okay. Should clarify, not real life serial killers because that's weird. But like my current one is Strayed from a game called Boyfriend to Death. And he's a German 30 something guy who kidnaps people and ties them up in his basement and then makes like snuff videos. And I just got really obsessed with him. I have an Ida bag. I own like 20 different charms of him. I have the body pillow.
Yeah, okay. Is that your only body pillow, or do you have more than
Oh
one?
no. I
Because
have
I I'm
multiple.
I'm currently body pillowless. So
Oh
the
no.
story goes, I had to move back in with my parents briefly and throw out all my bedding, all
Oh
that kind of stuff.
no.
And I stole one, which was it wasn't intended to be a body pillow. It was intended to be a pillow that runs along the edge of the bed if you have the bed pushed up against a wall. But
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm quite tall, and this pillow is also quite tall, so I just kind of kept it with me for some time. And I had somebody come over for the sexy times. Big flex, I know. Sorry, fans. And she names the pillow Susan. I have no fucking recollection of why, but like this body pillow is just now Susan forever, and it never received a cover. It never had an anime character on it, but it was just I was like, rather than calling it whatever its actual real name is, it was just, yeah, that's Susan from now on.
It's Susan
And then
now.
Susan got thrown out with the most recent move, because we
Oh
had a
no,
mildew problem.
Susan.
So F's in chat for Susan. And so now I am currently body pillowless, and I've been thinking about getting one from Freerun because I think that would
Ooh.
be kind of hype. I also had a friend who
Yeah.
had a body pillow that lived only in the lounge room to sit on the couch like a human. And I'm like also tempted to kind of do that as well. I think that would be kind of funny.
Yeah, so like I've had one since I was 17 because legitimately I used to sleep with one before that. It was just like this like pink body pillow like for, sleeping comfortably or whatever.
Posture or some shit.
Um
Yeah.
And then I went to a convention when I was like 17, and there was a vendor who was doing a deal for like $50. You could get the inner for the body pillow and a cover, which
Huge.
is such a good deal. If you ever can buy like a body pillow IRL, please do that because shipping them is really annoying. But obviously, I was still living with my parents. I was 17, and I was looking through all the body pillow covers, and I was like, I want one so it's comfortable for sleeping and stuff like that. And it would be kind of funny to have a cover, but they were all just like half naked 14-year-old girls,
Oh.
except for two. There was a body pillow of Sans and one of Papyrus from
That's so
Undertale.
funny.
And so I have a Papyrus body pillow
You're
because
so
I
real
was
for that.
like, I mean, it's on one of the sides he has like spaghetti coming out of his pockets. It's great.
That's so sick. So when were you
And then
officially diagnosed as a meme lord?
probably at a young age. I was chronically online.
Yeah, same.
And then I have like I think I have like 5 or 6 total. Because I buy them at conventions pretty frequently, I guess. I have 2 furry ones. I have like a big titty cowgirl, and then I have one of Janine from the Bad Dragon line. It was her old design because they have 2 designs for the Daki, and I was at a furry convention and they were selling the Daki, the old designs, for $5.
Damn.
So I was just like, oh yeah, hell yeah, of
Clearance,
course. It's
hell
a
yeah.
sexy dominatrix dragon, why not? Um, and then I have one of Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club, which I got because the fabric is a lot nicer. I've
The
learned that there's like,
fabric, sure. That's what I'll tell my parents when they
yeah.
ask me about it.
Because I've learned that there's different kinds of like Daki fabrics, and I think the ones I used to have were like the very cheap ones that are kind of like rough.
Okay.
And this one was so soft, so it was really nice.
That's
And then
interesting.
I actually technically have 2 of Strayed. I have an unofficial and an official one, because a different artist did an unofficial one a couple months before the official one dropped, and I just went on both of them.
Hell yeah. That's interesting. I wonder just how specific people get about the fabric. Because my
It's
current
insane.
pillow setup, right, is I have a pillowcase that is designed to mimic a teddy bear. So it is actually really thick and fluffy and very soft.
No, the Daki community is intense. There's literally like if you go on like the Body Pillow or Dakimakura subreddit, they have like whole list of like guides to fabric and where to purchase and how to get real designs and how to avoid fake ones and resellers, and like it's a whole thing.
That's crazy. All right, but I think it's my turn to talk about some of my other waifus. We did talk about some of my early ones, but I was talking about this recently, where there's really a formula that you could apply to a character to figure out if they are a spooky, dangerous waifu. So the list goes, and it doesn't have to include all of them, but I think if it includes maybe 2 or more, it probably counts. Twin buns, big jacket, big sneakers, and a grumpy or sleepy bitch. So with that, some of the really easy ones to point out is like Chun-Li. Chun-Li is big, twin buns
Classic.
energy, and does have big sneakers in some of the more modern designs. Rebecca from Edge Runners is pretty much most of these things, and she's very small too. I'm really getting into Laufin from Freerun. She like does not get that much screen time, but she's got the big twin buns energy, and she's very much just like, yeah, okay, I guess I am doing the thing. And then like Killjoy also doesn't really have the grumpy sleepy, but definitely has the like the big jacket, the big sneakers.
Nice.
And then Tatiana from Unicorn Overlord is kind of the same. Big twin buns energy, big sleepy bitch energy. She's got like this huge, like the serial killer eyes they do, like with a big black outline underneath. It's like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm sitting on at the moment. Unicorn Overlord, by the way, I'm like 40 hours into this game. It is a fucking waifu generator and a half. Because you play the first 20 hours of the game, and you're like, okay. And the game says, at some point, you will have to pick a partner. Kind of like that Fire Emblem formula where you marry someone for benefits in the game, like your character gets stronger or whatever. You're like,
You married me for RPG benefits.
Yeah, for the plot, surely. And then you have to pick someone. But like, you do the first 2 regions or the first 3 regions, and it's like, okay, you have to get married now, but there's still 2 more regions to explore. And one of the 2 more regions to explore is all furries. Like, only. So you're like, okay, I'm now in a push my luck mechanic where I have to figure out, do I have the waifus I want? Or do I have to go and collect the furry? And there's also a big muscle mommy that you have to grind through 40, like 20 levels, I think it is, of the Colosseum of really hard battles. And like, your characters have to be double the level that they are when you unlock the Colosseum to actually beat it. And then the muscle mommy is like 8 foot tall. She's like,
oh yes,
a whole third taller than every other character on screen.
Let's go.
And that was who I married. Hell yeah.
Okay, so you like the angry, kind of tough ones, sleepy ones.
Yeah, not like...
I can agree on the twin buns.
Not like hostile, like Yandere. More like Sundere.
Yeah, like Angie, but...
yeah,
you know.
Grumpy bitch. Yeah.
Because yanderes, they don't get angry at their lover. They get angry at everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess my archetype would be like evil scientist. Is like the most, or like evil doctor is one of the most consistent ones that I can like track a timeline of characters. The origin point is Dr. Stein from Soul Eater. I remember watching that when I was like 12, and in his introduction scene, you know, he's this creepy sort of evil scientist guy, and he goes up to Maka, the main character, who's like this 14-year-old girl, and he like lifts up her shirt like just by the stomach and starts drawing like dissection lines on her. And that, I remember like pausing it and being like, oh, this is affecting me deeply.
I am having an awakening.
And then, you know, there's like a Shu Iwamine from Hatoful Boyfriend, the pigeon dating simulator. He is the evil doctor pigeon. I am not immune to evil doctor pigeons, apparently.
That's like the center of the Venn diagram between I am a furry and also I like the mad scientist.
I mean, in that game, it's literally just like JPEGs of birds.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. And there's Dr. Habit, who's from a kind of obscure game called Smile for Me. He's like an insane dentist sort of character. And I guess I like seeing that archetype anywhere, or even just like, you know, the sort of like really intense sciencey types I can get into sometimes. I like their zany passion. And I guess the other thing is sadists. I love a good sadist, male, female, in between, whatever. If they are evil and they take like glory in that, pride in that, that's what I like.
So
I love
as a kid, you definitely
villains.
watched cartoons where all of the villains were very queer coded and very cartoonishly evil and
yes. That's what I guess one of my strangest recent fictional crushes is Big Jack Horner from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Oh yeah. That guy's built like Hassan Piker.
That part of it is that, because I do enjoy like the big character who could physically just like destroy me with their hand.
Yeah.
But I loved how cartoonishly like villainous and just like pure evil. I love a villain who's pure evil. Like one of the things I hated about Kylo Ren from Star Wars is that he's sympathetic.
Yeah.
I liked him before he took off the mask, and then I was like, shit, he's a pretty boy.
Yeah. Yeah, Kylo Ren is an interesting character because they really do set him up to just be such an angry dude. And his whole thing is that I'm just angry at everything. And they come to a point where it's like, okay, we have solved the conflict in you. You don't need to be angry anymore. And he's like, oh, now I am sad boy.
He's like Zuko if you just took out all of the character development.
Yeah, if he didn't actually have a redemption arc.
They're just like, oh, you're good now.
True. So, do you really just look at these characters and you're like, oh, I can fix him? Or you're like, he could fix me?
I'm very much, I'm a fan of that I can make him worse.
Oh yeah, huge. I love
like
that.
I actually hate, especially with characters like Strayed, who are meant to be irredeemable. These are not characters that have some tragic backstory and like stuff like that. I hate reading fan fiction where they give them a tragic backstory, or they're like, oh, he's nice to you for some reason. I'm like, no, I want him to be mean to me too.
Yeah, or this horrible thing happened to this person and therefore they are perpetuating the cycle, instead of this really good thing happened to them and that caused them to have a horrible awakening, which I think would be way more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I enjoy about like fictional scenarios is that you can indulge in, character types that would be dangerous if they were real people, Like
Hmm.
that's always the question I get is like, "Oh, is this what you actually want in a partner?" And I'm like, "No." Of
Yeah,
course
that's the
not.
point of the fantasy. Just because I think it would be really hot to be with a woman who's 10 foot and could crush my entire body between her thighs does not mean that I need that kind of spinal realignment in real life.
Oh God. However, if there are any 10-foot mommies in the chat, you
Yeah,
know,
look, get in the comment section if you are 10 foot, you're ripped, a massive rack, massive cock, whatever. Just get in there and post your home address. Uh, please don't do that. Please don't dox yourself in that comment section.
Uh, and then I think on the other hand, sometimes I do admittedly just kind of like a character because I like their design. Um,
Mm.
like so Supersonico is like one of my long-standing waifus because and for those of you who don't really know much about her, she's basically just a mascot for Nitro Plus. Like she's a sexy anime girl they use to sell merch and sell their brand and stuff like that.
Like Miku.
Yeah, she's kind of like Miku, where she can wear a bunch of different outfits. She's done a bunch of different collabs. Like, she's just very marketable.
Mm.
And I remember seeing the figures at conventions growing up and, being like, oh, I
Mm.
can't buy those now because it's an anime girl with huge tits. I can't really explain that to my
What's really
parents.
stopping you? Come on, live a little.
But I can own them now, and the other thing I do enjoy is they did actually end up giving her a sort of character. They made like a visual novel for her where
That's
you're her
sick.
photographer. It's kind of fun,
So,
and
do
she's just
you
like
have
this.
a figure collection? Bursting
I
question, have to
do.
know. Are you gonna
I
send a
do.
picture for us to be able to put it in the video, a little clip?
I could because I'm looking at them right now. I mean, I have like a
Is
whole
it YouTube
waifu.
safe?
I might. Well, okay. The figures are. I have two posters I'm looking at right now that have anime girls with their tits.
Okay, so you might have to skillfully film from one side.
Yeah, because
But
my
if that is
room
footage we
is
have, I will be
insane.
putting it in here so we can see a little bit of the figure collection.
Because I have I'm very much into the waifu husbando merch collecting aspect. My bedroom does not look like an adult woman's bedroom because it is covered in anime junk. Like I have
Based.
a whole wall of like anime posters.
That just makes you the waifu. This was the hero's
Yeah.
journey all along.
You gotta become the waifu, which I have. I have cosplayed Supersonico. Um, so and then most recently, so speaking of twin buns, this character doesn't have any of those other traits, but there is Lynn from Harem Hotel, who she's
Hang on,
this
I'm
very
googling.
cute. She's this very cute elf maid. She's like peak service submissive. She has freckles, which are adorable.
I'm gonna
And
come.
elf ears and twin
Ah,
buns.
but it's 3D pain.
um,
I
but
really
I
don't
got like
like the games that are rigged and then posed for.
yeah, it is a honey select one,
Yeah,
but the writing's
upsetting.
really good.
Yeah, but I find it's still so uncanny valley. Like it's still not at the point where I feel like I can. I've only ever seen one demo of something that was like Unreal Engine, where the character looks genuinely real enough for me to not be taken out of it immediately. I have the same problem with RPG Maker as well. Pretty much all
Mhm.
RPG makers, it'll be like, look, I have this
Yeah.
fantastic 2D art. I'm like, that's great. As soon as I come back to my little fucking Gen 1 Pokemon avatar and running around, I'm lost. I'm so gone.
Yeah, Harem Hotel was the one that changed my mind because originally I was like I was also not super into playing it because I was like, oh, this is just they're using models from Honey Select or whatever.
Mm.
But people kept egging me about it. They were like, listen, the writing's really good, and then I tried it. I fell in love with this fucking character. I can't tell if it's because I want to like wife her or be her. I think that's something I experience a
The classic
lot.
bisexual conundrum. Yeah.
But I ended up cosplaying like for fun, like obscure character from an obscure porn game.
But it's also just like kind of made generic, also. That's one of my big concerns about cosplay is that no matter how cool you think this character is, if you go and dress it, if someone comes up and goes, oh, are you this other thing? You just cry. Just every time.
Yeah, I've had that happen a lot with like even like characters from like somewhat recognizable media. I'm just like,
Yeah.
sure, whatever.
Oh, so I was at a convention in Australia, totally doxing myself because there's really only one of them. That's how small we are as a country. And I'm with a friend, and she's dressed up all fancy, but just how she normally dresses. And she has green hair. She's wearing like a full kind of goth fit, right? And we're standing around waiting for something. And a girl and a photographer come over and go, "Oh my god, we're dressed as the same character. We're both Ramona from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Can I get a photo with
Oh
you?"
my god.
And she's like, "No, wait, yeah, okay, sure, sounds great. That's me. Yep, I'm that one." Which is really funny, but yeah. Otherwise, you definitely don't want to be like, "Yeah, cool, I'm this very specific waifu," and then someone be like, "Oh, are you this generic bitch?" Which I feel like that would crush
Love when
me.
people cosplay from like eroge though. There was someone at Katsucon, which I went to a couple 2 months ago or whatever, and they were cosplaying as the two main characters from Rants, which is like a super important 90s eroge, like one of the kind of first. It was super influential in the RPG genre, and there were actually also a couple, which I thought was really cute. So they were
Cute.
cosplaying like the main character and his main waifu, and I was like, oh my god, that's literally such goals.
Very cute. Alright, one of the other things actually I have been doing recently on the THM Twitter account, I've been just low-key shooting out polls asking people what their preferred waifu from a media is. So I asked about Unicorn Overlord, that was the most recent one, and everyone picked the fucking front cover box bitch, Scarlet, which I think is a little bit cringe, but that's you're allowed to be wrong. I have so Scarlet is like a cleric, but they've got she's got like a big dress that covers her entire body, except it has like an underwire that goes directly under her chest, and she just has insane jiggle physics. It just like basically is spring loaded or some shit, and then whenever she moves, she like bounces an immense amount. It's like the opposite of what you're usually going for with that kind of dress.
Like an anti-bra.
Yeah. Then we have Rosalinda, who is like an elf that wears just only a leotard, and she's got big hips out everywhere. Amalia, who is the big muscle mummy. And then Ramona, who is the furry owl that people have really started to do fan art of, because she has like some kind of a prominent chest, even though you can't really tell if it's boob or if it's feather or whatever.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Oh, we have Guilty Gear. I think Guilty Gear is actually great for waifus. And we have Elfeld.
I only know that one for the porn.
Exactly, right? There's some great character design in this game. The game is actually a banger itself. I'm a big Guilty Gear enjoyer. And I got hassled because all the characters I play are not waifus. It's wasting my time, right?
Boo.
But everyone voted for Jacko, and I believe that's probably because Jacko is maybe the most well-known from the Jacko pose challenge, where everyone was redrawn in her signature bent over pose. But I still think Elfelt is my waifu from Guilty Gear. You heard it here first. Either Elfelt or Bridget. No shock if Bridget's a waifu for the guy that works in the bloody Futa game company. And then I did a free run one, and everyone picked free run. So my waifu, Laufen, is 4.7% of the poll, and I'm so sad.
I mean, she is the main character, so she has the most development.
Free run is also just so non-sexual as a character, also. Which I think is really funny that everyone thinks that Freerun is a waifu, because Freerun is just like does not engage in like any of that stuff. She's just like really not interested. Whereas
I mean,
like,
that can be appealing.
I guess, but it's also like she just doesn't understand humans at all. She's got like that kind of autistic trait of not understanding social cues and stuff like that, which makes for a lot of great comedy on the show. That makes it funny for her to be a waifu thing, where it's just like senpai will literally never notice you. Why is that your waifu?
Because it'll be different if it's me.
Yeah, exactly. I am the real protagonist here.
I mean, what I do think is interesting now is I feel like, anime, there's like seasonal waifus, which I feel like was like less of a thing like growing up. Like, yeah, there was always like people would choose their waifus from like the shows they like, but now it's like every season, every couple of months, there's a hot new waifu show that everybody gets really into, and then everybody forgets about her.
Yeah, I see that a lot as well, actually.
I'm
something
like,
new
you
will
gotta
happen.
commit to your waifus.
Like My Hero Academia gets to that certain point and Mirko comes out, everyone's like, but that look, I'm into muscle mommies now, and then something else will come out and people are like, oh, elf girls are cute actually, and yeah, it's
Or
It
like
is a
Zero
bit like
Two
that.
was really popular for a
Still
while.
is, I reckon.
But she'll like never have the longevity of something like, you know, like Asuka or Rei from like Neon
Yeah.
Genesis. Or like people are still obsessing over them like
Or
to this day.
Rem and Ram, which is like the number
Yeah.
one figure I see anywhere I go.
Yeah, definitely, because they got that whole like twin dynamic. They got the maid thing. They got the contrasting colors. Like
Mm.
peak.
But that concludes it for our third episode of the Sexy Business Podcast. But I want to hear from you, loyal listener. Who is your number one waifu? Was it somebody that we mentioned? Is it somebody we should have mentioned and deserves to be spotlighted as a waifu? I do want to know because I am genuinely interested in a lot of the character design that goes into what makes a waifu good, what makes a waifu just sexy in particular, or what is the thing that draws you to them? Or is it something like Crystal from Star Fox, where it was really the only sexy feminine furry in video games at that time, and that was why people really got drawn into her? Or is it from the newest, hottest anime? I want to know. So get in that comment section and also hit the like and subscribe button. You've been listening to us for 30 minutes. We've fucking earned it. And then, hopefully, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.